We're here with our mascot, the Story Dude. So please, like the video, subscribe to Story Dude, and let's get into the stories.
My 34 male girlfriend, 32F, is dying and trying to set me up with her best friend, 32 female. My girlfriend of 10 years has terminal cancer. She's in her final weeks of life. We have no children because her health has long been a concern. She's fought cancer several times through her life. We never got married because she is not a believer in the practice, but I would have married her in a heartbeat if she'd wanted it. I love her desperately and always will. 3 months ago, she made the decision to stop the chemo and let things happen on their own. She has been fading fast ever since. She is now bedridden and on hospice and sleeps most of the time, but she is still able to communicate when she is awake. All her life, she's had the same best friend. Her best friend is a wonderful, sweet person and a single mother of 2 young boys. Their father was abusive and she lived with us for a while when she was getting back on her feet after leaving him, and during that time her sons became very close with me. I've always been the male figure in their lives and I enjoy being around them genuinely. I also have a great deal of admiration for their mother, but my feelings toward her have never been attraction of any kind. I love her for the person she is and because she's always been so important to the woman I'm in love with. A few weeks ago, my girlfriend spoke to me privately and told me that when she is gone she wants me to continue to be there and take care of her friend and the boys. I told her that of course I would and she shouldn't be worried about any of that. Then she told me that she wanted me to date her friend. You two would be good together and it just makes sense. She will take good care of you, too, she said. She brings it up almost every day now. She had a similar conversation with her friend. Obviously this isn't something I am interested in pursuing and her friend doesn't really seem to want it, either, but recently during a conversation her friend said to me, "It's a dying wish. We can just pretend until she's gone that we're considering it and make her feel better." I don't even want to do that though. I want my girlfriend to know that without a doubt she is the love of my life and I have no interest in pursuing anyone else. She's been the one for me. How do I express this to her without having her feel like I'm denying her any final wishes in life or disregarding her opinion about what I should do with the future? It's a dying wish. We can just pretend until she's gone that we're considering it and make her feel better. MMHH, not sure about that. Sounds like a chick flick movie. You pretend until you don't. How do I express this to her without having her feel like I'm denying her any final wishes in life or disregarding her opinion about what I should do with the future? So, I know you want what's best for me, your friend, and her children, but right now, we're still in the present. I love you, and I want us to focus on our relationship, not on others. You already trying to matchmake hurts me. My 30SM new wife, 30SF, has spent all of our joint savings and only just told me. Hi, we have been in a relationship for 4 years, and married this year. 2-3 years ago we opened a joint account. I put in most of my savings, several thousand. My parents gave us several thousand towards our house, but we haven't bought a house yet so this also went in. I put in a work bonus for another 2-3 thousand, and this year got a second job as we were getting married and all of this went into our joint account. I haven't saved any other money because I live month to month on my 9/5. A few months after we opened our joint account I had issues accessing my online bank account so relied on her. I didn't bother checking until this year, because I knew besides 3 transactions I didn't put or take anything from the account. When our wedding was approaching I asked as I knew we would be spending a lot from that account on our wedding. Girlfriend delayed saying she was too busy with work and planning wedding etc. We got married, we are busy catching up with work etc., honeymoon, and so on until we settle in a few months after so I ask again. She finally gives me a huge document saying we've spent on X bills, and loads of different things. Some things I didn't agree on. Like if we agreed to spend 1,000 she has taken 1,500 out of the account. Also things I thought was still on finance like phone, etc. she is saying she paid off from the joint account. Then she says there is nothing left in the joint account and she is actually owed a little bit because she had to pay some of the wedding out of her personal account. I thought there would be a lot taken out but not all. I also don't think she has been putting in as much in as she says she has. TLR, got married this year. Haven't been able to check our joint account because of online banking issues. Asked girlfriend close to marriage how much we had spent on wedding etc. It wasn't until months after wedding she finally tells me. I find out she had spent Thousands more on things we didn't agree on, like if we agreed to spend 1,000 on something she would actually take out 1,500. And she says we have zero left in joint account and she is owed money because she spent from personal account on wedding. Now over 2-3 years it's not a lot which has been overspent. It's more how she handled it, like didn't tell me at time, going against what we agreed, etc. A big part of me wants to say going forward we need to fix my access so I can see what's being spent and when, and that she should only spend what is agreed. But a small part of me is really annoyed that she went behind my back to spend money and it feels like she tried to hide it from me, etc. And now not sure whether I can trust her in our marriage, etc. I have hardly spoken to her all day and a bit annoyed. Should I just tell her that we need to sort the account out and monitor it better in the future, or has she crossed a line? From her personal account, so she has her own money and she's spending the money of your joint marriage before spending her own money? At the very least, you two need to go over what's being spent where, because if she has a savings account and you have nothing, she's spending joint money while you live paycheck to paycheck. Either things need to get hashed out and any joint spending gets approved by both before spent, or you guys are in for trouble. Whether she has to repay the questionable spending or not is going to depend on how things hash out, but at the very least, from your perspective, nothing should be spent going forward without conversations about it. Probably also need some couples counseling, as this isn't going to end without some drama, it seems. You should probably learn how to log in. At a crossroads. Husband cheated, and now wants open relationship. My husband of 3 years cheated on me. I found him in a hotel room with a stripper. He says no intercourse was had but other things were done. This has hurt me at an immense level. I feel betrayed, heartbroken and like my peace has been taken away. I have not stopped sobbing since. Backstory. My husband and I have been together since high school. Both of us were 16 years old when we began dating. We got married at 24 and are now 27. We are all each of us has ever known sexually, and up until recently, that hadn't been a problem. Early this year, we began to fight a lot and he shared with me that he feels like he missed out on having fun and being a man and having a college experience because we've been together for so long and got married so young. I almost feel like he resents me for getting married so young and taking away his ability to go out and fuck whoever he wants. I tell myself that he made this choice himself. Now it seems like he wants out of this commitment and it's all culminated into him cheating. Now he's saying he pretty much wants an open relationship to keep fucking other people but wants to continue coming home to me. He has said that he knows he is flawed in his thinking and that he thinks he has some more maturing to do. He's even said that he wishes we had met when we were older, so that all of this would be out of his system. He has said that he'd be willing to go to couples therapy or counseling to try and make this work between the two of us, but something in me tells me that this is not all the way out of his system, and that even if we continue, he'll cheat on me again. I can't see myself ever agreeing to an open relationship, because that would go against my morals and what I believe. I am at a crossroads now where if we continue forward I may live with fear that he'll do this again and that he's unhappy, or do we go our separate ways. Either way will be difficult. I feel like I lost my best friend, companion and the person I'd be spending the rest of my life with. I don't know what to do. Any thoughts would be appreciated. You're still young, get a divorce and move on from him. So not only did he cheat, he's asking for your permission to continue doing it? Wow, I'd walk away. So your husband has told you that he doesn't love you enough to stick to the vows he made, and that whilst he realizes he's wrong and hurting you, he's not willing to stop. Because getting it on with new people is more important than breaking your heart. He's also telling you that he's willing to go to counseling, but not to stop. Just to go through the motions and get you to shut up. I'm sorry you're going through this. It isn't your fault. He'll only continue to treat you as a second thought and disposable if you let him though. You're young and worth more than that. If you leave him you will find someone to treat you right. Please don't put yourself through this. Girl. There is so much dick out there. Pick one that treats you good and makes you laugh. Am I broken or too conservative? Edit 2. Thank you everyone for your responses to this post, including the responses I may not like, but agree with. The decision has been made and stated, but more importantly I was able to learn from it and understand it better. My previous misunderstandings, of which I'll be transparent and leave available here to read, have been directly opposed with reasoning and I feel better for having understood it. I know that it is an inconvenient truth in regards to how I've always lived, but it's incredibly valuable for me to understand the misconceptions that affect an entire community of people, especially when someone I care about is a part of that community. For those I have hurt with my words, I apologize. For those that cared enough to correct my misunderstandings, I thank you. For those that offered sound advice grounded in fairness and reasoning, I am grateful. For those that reached out to offer compassion and empathy, please know that we all deserve love in the ways we feel it the best. It does not make any of us lesser or more than another. It simply makes us human, prone to misgivings and misunderstandings. Edit. I am fully and painfully aware of the reality ahead of me. I would like to reiterate with full transparency that I am in fact seeking resources to understand another perspective. I apologize that my words themselves are in fact ignorant and they will feel insensitive. But as one human to another, please understand that I have no malicious intent. I'm just someone trying to expand my worldview so that I don't hurt others. I, 33M, need advice about a girl, 28F, that I've been seeing for about a month. We've been friends, acquaintances for a long time and I've always appreciated her humor and curiosities, but it's only recently that we had dinner and saw sparks fly. It was a near immediate firestorm of feelings. I'm falling for her. It's not just that she's beautiful, although she glows in the sunlight like the moon. She's incredibly intelligent, kind, affectionate, talented in so many ways, conscious to thought and reality. Her presence makes my skin so much more sensitive, and I could look into her eyes for what feels like forever. I'm typically stoic. I've spent years being a bachelor and told myself I'd only settle for a partner, and not an obligation to a burden as my exes have been. I've had enough relationships, including ones that failed miserably, to know what I'm looking for and what I'm willing to do and learn for my partner. This woman has reignited my fire for life and my thirst for adventure. I've found myself leaving my apartment more often and spending my time outside. After 2.5 years of isolation during COVID, she gave me a reason to explore the city. I moved to 6 Malios before COVID started. She's brought immense value to my life and I'm falling for her. I want to love her as she deserves to be loved, but I don't know if I can. You see, she's polyamorous and I'm monogamous. She's explained to me what polyamory means, and when I asked if she would ever be open to the idea of monogamy with a partner who is able to meet all her mental, emotional, physical and existential needs, she said, maybe. Which might be likely no. I'm not 100% clear on how she defines love. But for me, I believe it is best given rather than only received. I think of love as a gift you give to someone. The willingness to delay or part with your own personal desires to make someone else's a reality. I feel that it's less of a sacrifice and more of a compromise. And I think the strongest and most pure form of love is when it's between two people who want nothing more than each other, flaws and missing pieces included. It's difficult to reconcile as I don't think any of my past relationships have been fulfilling by any definition of the word. I've felt listed after, I've felt disdain and infidelity. But I don't think I've ever felt love. I feel like I understand where she is coming from and why she has been polyamorous, and I don't feel it's right to try and change her feelings about it for my own benefit. She described it as having so many wants and needs that it would be impossible to find that in a single person. And when I asked, she said she doesn't believe it's possible. The part that I can't seem to figure out is how she is when she's with me. She tells me she's fulfilled and that she loves that there's room for her in my heart. Really, it feels like that space was always meant for her. Polyamory doesn't read like love to me. It starts off that way. But ends nearly immediately. And I am reading about it. I care enough about her to try and understand her perspective. I can't grasp how it is love when you can't be bothered to grow together and find new things to love about each other. To me it feels a lot like using another person only to fill the gaps in your life and therefore weighs so much less. I feel like it takes away from that feeling of being the most important person in someone's life and them being yours. How do you feel secure and loved knowing that there is nothing about you or that you can do to meet someone's emotional, existential and physical needs and desires? On the other hand, can't a person be capable of learning and adapting to their partner's needs? Can't they as a multifaceted human being grow to be the person that bridges that gap? Or is it selfish and greedy and insecure to believe so? If she decides I'm the only one she needs for herself by herself, then I would buy a ring without a second thought and hold it till the day she is ready. I just cannot make that decision for her, nor do I want to. How can I tell someone that I want to be the only man, woman they love and come home to? That I want to grow and learn how to love her and meet all her needs, not because I feel obligated to, but because I want her to be happy and have all the things she loves. How do I reconcile that feeling that falls somewhere between selfish and selfless? Shit. It makes me feel like a narcissist and I can't stand that feeling. I care about her quite a lot, but I don't know if I can settle for being one of many men in her life because I want to feel as special and loved the way I feel about her. I guess what I'm really asking is how do I talk to her about how I feel? Am I avoiding it because I know that ignorance is bliss and I'd ruin any chance at her deciding that I'm enough? Will I ever be enough? Is polyamorous love genuine or is it just a way to fill time and space while maintaining a partial commitment? I know I'm likely not going to like the responses, but I will still appreciate them regardless. I'm polyamorous. You're not broken or too conservative, but this is an incompatibility on the level of finding out that one of you wants kids and the other does not. Nobody's wrong, but I don't think the relationship works. You're not compatible. That is non-negotiable. She sounds like she did some introspection and polyamory is her right fit. You aren't. And I'm not convinced you actually see her. The way you talk about her is hyper-romantic. Which is cute, but also means she is not a full person to you. Completely understandable after COVID isolation. But you seem to idealize her and bend over backwards to make her fit into your life. That's not sustainable. You can't change her, and your relationship views are incompatible. Take the pluses from the relationship and move on. It will just be harder to end the longer it goes on.